welcome back to the Exceptional Conservative Show live from the nation's capital. I'm yours truly, the exceptional one, Ken Mcclenton. We certainly are not ashamed of the good news of conservatism, for it is the power of liberation, first to the Republican and then to the tyrant. I want to thank Mary Brockman, my bouncer-in-chief in the chat role, and Bonnie Williams, my executive producer, also in the chat role. And it's not too late. You can come right on into the chat role at TECNTV.com. But those two ladies have a special appropriations power and authority over my career, apparently, and over my show. Those two ladies can fine me for the mistakes that I make during the course of my show. And I have already been fined $14. I'm just into the beginning of my show. I've already been fined $14. I've been fined $10 by the executive producer, Bonnie Williams, for dashing the hopes and aspirations of Hallmark and Lifetime movie viewers because of my assertions that the Christmas movies on those channels are virtually the same. One movie that's just changed in terms of events and characters, but it's the same movie, same outcome or whatever. So I got fined $10 for that. I got fined $4 because I was late doing the Pledge of Allegiance to the United States of America as a result of dashing the hopes and aspirations of those who watch Hallmark and Lifetime Christmas movies. So those $14 actually go to a great fund. It's called the Open Heart Closed Case campaign. It is in reverence and respect to my daughter, who was killed 5.5 years ago in Washington, D.C. And her case has been yet unsolved in terms of who murdered her. And so those dollars go to help individuals who are trying to get their lives back together as a result of unresolved homicides, missing persons, teen suicides, child abuse cases, and so much more in terms of public safety and public health. And so we thank you all so much for supporting that organization. On Fridays when you tune in to watch Open Heart Closed Case Night on the Exceptional Conservative Network, TECNTV.com, as we bring you stories that relate to all of those particular conditions that we spoke of: unresolved homicides, missing persons, teen suicides, child abuse cases, as well issues regarding public safety and public health. So I'm more than likely, and I want you all to know, this is the one fine I don't mind paying at all. I love paying that fine. And so if you all want to come into the chat room and suggest to Mary Brockman and also Bonnie Williams additional fines that I need to pay, you go right ahead. You go right ahead. I'm quite sure they will enjoy the company and also enjoy the jurisprudence that they have over my television program. Ladies and gentlemen, there is a young woman in Washington, D.C. While she does not cackle when she laughs, she is no different than any other Democrat Marxist in governance. Her objective in life is to defund the police, keep your neighborhoods unsafe, and pursue a television spot on CNN as well as MSNBC or any other leftist program. Her name is Muriel Bowser. Now, Muriel Bowser is one of those particular tyrants who have taken over as a result of Article 10 of the U.S. Constitution, which basically states that the states have absolute control over the commerce and operation of their state outside of the federal jurisdiction. I actually don't know how that's possible, as we are a federal city, but nonetheless, the mayor has been calling the shots for Washington, D.C. I really believe it should be someone else. However, since she has basically gone mad with her dictatorial powers and authority, who love doing these daily press conferences, it's amazing. It really is amazing how many leftists love to be in front of the camera talking about death, dismemberments, destruction, anything that has to do with a D. Democrat Marxists love to be in front of the camera to talk with you about it. This particular D happened to be coronavirus. And so she while the rest of the world was going on a different statistical analysis of the potential deaths that would occur from the impact of coronavirus on the neighborhoods of America's cities and states, she chose a more desperate set of statistics to go by, the Chime statistics, in which we were expecting there to be, about 400 people dead every week or something in the District of Columbia. That we were all going to die. We were just going to die. I don't know how we made it. We're all going to die. And so that was her. And so lately there has been an uptick in cases. Now, mortality has shrunk 85%. Yeah. And let's put a pin there for just a moment. Did you know, Muriel, that the CDC under Dr. Fauci report that 94% of the coronavirus cases that ended in death, the priority death characteristic was not coronavirus? No. It actually was a comorbidity, like maybe pneumonia, maybe heart, maybe diabetes, some other comorbidity, brain aneurysm, anything else, but it was not COVID-19. So that power that was granted you for 2 weeks in March, you have obstructed the liberties and the freedoms of over 400,000 Americans in this particular city. You have banished our children to learning as if they were in a third world nation by distance learning. Some of these kids can't even afford to have the lights on in their house. Some of these kids don't even know what a personal computer is or a laptop. I know you came up with the fund somehow so every kid can have a laptop. But does that give every kid access to the internet? No. And even when they do, ladies and gentlemen, they don't all show up for class. You will have attendance rating somewhere in the area of a low 20% of kids in the District of Columbia that actually show up for school. I put my mug on it. Probably no more than about 20% of the kids show up on a daily basis consistently. All the others are sleeping at home, watching TV, and enjoying the fruits of a vacation granted them by the teachers union, who are more fearful of showing up in a classroom with a group of kids who are unlikely to get the coronavirus, and if they do, recover so very quickly you wouldn't even know they had it, than the Walmart and the Safeway and the Shoppers Food Warehouse employees who have to show up every day and get behind a pretend little plastic thing as if that's stopping them from getting coronavirus. And there goes that pen that I'm getting ready to pull. Hypocrisy. Let's share that with the class, ladies and gentlemen. Hypocrisy. Muriel Bowser on hypocrisy.
Trip to Delaware. Questions have arisen. Talk about it in respect to your list of states that are risky and why you went there. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. So Sam has asked me about a trip that I took on Saturday night to congratulate the Biden-Harris team on a historic victory in celebration.
First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, let's put a pin there for just one moment. This is how alert Muriel Bowser is. Number one, no state, not even her own territory, the District of Columbia, has certified voting election results. Have it. Number two, Pennsylvania has been pulled from the consideration of states won by Joe Biden, which basically means he does not have the 270 electoral votes to be deemed president-elect. Number three, she's about as lit in terms of reasoning as BET, Howard University, and your mainstream media, including Fox News. They all call him president-elect, yet he hasn't achieved the status. Kamala Harris has not achieved the status. So why did you go to Delaware? For a party? Is that what you did? You went to Delaware for a party? Let's see about that.
Congratulate the Biden-Harris team on a historic victory and celebrate for Washingtonians what will be a change at the White House at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. And I've been very proud to do that.
Was it essential?
Absolutely. Let me just say this, Sam. I do a lot of things to advance the interests of the District of Columbia. And some of them are formal and some of them are informal, but all of them are necessary.
Okay. I have another.
Okay. All of her trips are necessary. Here's a great idea for a journalist that would like to really do an investigation. How many trips has Muriel Bowser taken that were formal business trips, and how many did she come back that she labeled informal business trips? Do you know there was once a guy who was mayor for life in the District of Columbia who practiced that, and his name was Marion S. Barry Jr., and they called him corrupt for doing so. Muriel Bowser, every time you take a trip, is not an essential business trip. And while you have the press standing around you, clapping and celebrating the fact that Donald Trump has not yet exited 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, yet they have joined the coup to take place at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, you went to Delaware to celebrate the coup. It had nothing to do with the District of Columbia. It has nothing to do with the District of Columbia. But that goes to show you exactly the privilege of hypocrisy in America. You see, Muriel Bowser went to Delaware, although she told others that they could not go to Delaware because Delaware was a high-risk state. Yes, a high-risk state. Yes, because of the coronavirus that was happening in Delaware. Yet, apparently, the same woman who criticized Donald Trump for having coronavirus and wanted to investigate the entire White House takes a trip to an area which is markedly increased in terms of coronavirus. I suppose what you're going to tell me is that mask actually protects you, Muriel Bowser. I got news for you. Your CDC says the exact opposite. It says that actually the persons who have more cases of coronavirus happen to be mask wearers. You maskies are a little bit of a concern. Now, Bowser's justification for her travel was first reported by Mark Seagraves of WRC, the NBC-owned station in Washington, D.C., who quoted one of her staff members as saying the trip was essential travel and accepted under mayor's order. So wait a minute, Madam Mayor. What you say is the rules that you set aside for your sycophants and your oppressed in Washington, D.C. are just for them. They're not for you. You see, you operate on a different set of laws. You do what the hell you want to do, and you oppress people like small business people. And there are a lot of black small business owners who have suffered greatly while the Walmart is doing quite well down there on 8th Street. Gotta love it. It's open, all boarded up, but you gotta love it. Georgia Avenue, all boarded up, but you gotta love it. It looks good. Riggs Road, all boarded up, but it looks good. Yeah. You're setting businesses back into the dark ages economically. The middle of downtown is as filled as Santa Claus bag on the 26th of December. Families are suffering. Individuals are losing their cars, their houses. They can't lose their cars because you set a rule? No, you see, the problem is that if they can't make income, Madam Mayor, thanks to your edicts, then it doesn't matter when they get ready to start paying back. They won't be able to make it up. You see, Delaware was among the states deemed high risk in a list released by Mayor Bowser's office just last week. Okay, I want to give that to you all, because I don't want you all thinking that I just come up with stuff. I'm putting it in the chat row for those of you who are following along at home. And you're right, Mary. The Electoral College doesn't meet until what? December 14th. We're a long way off from calling a winner. There is something about premature that is definitely Democratic. You can fill in the blank after the premature. But there you go, ladies and gentlemen, and I put it in the chat roll. The DC Health Department released a list of states that, and I will read it to you. DC Health released an updated list of high-risk states where the seven. Now remember, we were considered as conservatives high risk by going down on the mall and praying for America, but the rioters and the looters were not high risk. Okay, so apparently Mayor Bowser knows the difference between what is risky and what is not risky. She puts her whole faith in the DC Health Department. She puts her whole faith in Dr. Fauci. I see her pray at the altar every single day, Dr. Fauci's altar. Put a mask on. Put a mask on. Praise the mask. Praise the mask. But where an updated list of high-risk states where the 7-day moving average of daily COVID-19 cases is 10 or more per 100. 10 or more. Not the 1,000 like Hogan was talking about today in Maryland. And I suppose what you're going to do is put up a blockade so people don't go to Maryland and Virginia, right, Madam Mayor? That's what you're going to do. Real smart thinking. Anyone coming into Washington, D.C. from a high-risk state within the prior 14 days who was traveling for non-essential activities will be required to self-quarantine for 14 days from their arrival in the district. She's not self-quarantining. Oh, wait a minute. These rules don't apply to... I see, Madam Mayor. You're up here, way above. You know, you're in that heavenly host where the rules don't apply to you. They apply to the president at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue and conservatives like me. See, and to small business owners who are going out of business as a result of you closing down the city because of an uptick in cases. Not an uptick in deaths, but an uptick in cases. Okay, there you go. Travel to and from Maryland and Virginia is exempt from the order. Sure. This list should be used until Monday, November the 16th. Yeah, Monday, November the 16th. States that were added included California, New Jersey, and Oregon. Now, if you happen to go to Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware. Ooh, what's that word again? Let's look it up. One of the first states of the Union. Delaware. Yes. Home of the corrupt Joe Biden. Home of the more corrupt Hunter Biden. Home of the colluded RICO stringent Biden family. Florida, Georgia, Idaho, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Kansas, Kentucky, Louisiana, Massachusetts, Michigan, Minnesota, Mississippi. Yo, Mississippi, way to go. Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, Nevada, New Jersey, New Mexico, North Carolina, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, Oregon, Pennsylvania, Rhode Island, South Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas. Whoa, Texas. Utah, West Virginia, Wisconsin, and Wyoming. All individuals coming into Washington, D.C. from high-risk states can find the full mayor's order at coronavirus.dc.gov. /phase 2. You see, I want you to know Now, it's reported it wasn't immediately clear if Mayor Bowser or the staff members who accompanied her. Now, remember, staff members are not supposed to go to these high-risk places for business. They're not, whether it's essential or non-essential. It wasn't immediately clear if Mayor Bowser or the staff members who accompanied her to Biden's victory speech in Wilmington, Delaware on Saturday were abiding by their own quarantine rules. Her office has not responded to Fox News' request for comment. I want you all to understand, without a shadow of a doubt, that Democrat Marxists have but one thing on their mind. It is the total subjugation of the people beneath the ruling class. The rules don't apply to her, and they don't apply to the city council, and they don't apply to fellow Democrat Marxists of the ruling class. But mind you, if you, my fellow American, had to travel to New York, to North Carolina, to Florida, if you had to travel there and come back for an essential reason, Muriel Bowser has the power to say that it was non-essential and that you must serve your 14-day time quarantine. You see, hypocrisy is a wonderful sport to play when you have the ruling class to play it with. I just wanted to show you, America, what you will be like if Joe Biden is elected president of the United States in December. You will have justice for you and justice for the Bidens and the Bowsers and the Pelosi's and the Schumers and the Clintons. You see, yeah. Since 1860, the Democrats have always subscribed to separate and unequal. This weekend, Muriel Bowser just showed you what separate and unequal is all about. It's about your unified subversion. You see, all hail Muriel Bowser because she's mayor. Go to hell, every American, because you're not. We'll be back, ladies and gentlemen, with more of the best in urban conservative talk right after these messages.